Welcome back to the session 4 of the module 1 lecture of week 1. We have been discussing in the past session about employment contract, and we have seen how both the employers and the employee has to move beyond the basic employment contract in order to understand the value addition that the employees can do towards the organization's purpose. The employers really have to consider employees as valuable assets for the organization, just not like any other machine who will be like coming into the organization, doing their daily routine and going back, and at the end of the month receive the salary and be happy with it. But if they are nurtured properly, and they are taken care of properly, if they are allowed to grow properly, they can really work wonders for the purpose of the organization. This mental set, this mindset towards considering employees as valuable assets of the organization is where we see like the organization is thinking of investing in the people for a greater purpose. And whenever we are thinking of investing in the people for their growth, which ultimately leads to the growth of the organization, we see the concept of considering employees as the human capital of the organization. So now in this discussion of today, we are going to see like what is the human capital. And the moment we take a transition from looking at the employment contract towards finding it like towards moving towards the journey of considering employees as human capital, the role of training and development become immensely important, because it is that training and development provided by the employers to the employees which helps them, the employees, to transform into human capital and do the value addition towards the organization and also develop on their personal competencies. So in this lecture we are going to see the concept of human capital, how it is considered by the organization, and how do we measure, of course whenever we are talking of human capital, of course we need to understand how do we measure, what are the returns on this investment that we make for the transforming employees into the human capital. So whenever we are talking of training and development, measurement of the efforts taken and the implications, the results of that training and development, this becomes very, very important part of the training design and training evaluation also. So all these concepts get connected whenever we start seeing the employees as human capital. So in today's discussion, we are going to focus now on human capitals, and we'll discuss on employees as human capitals. So this part of the lecture will be held on the employees as human capital and its various aspects. The term human capital refers to the fact that the human beings have invested in themselves by the means of education, training, or other activities of their capacity building, which help them to yield future benefit or to raise their income in future by increasing their lifetime earnings. In the concept of employment, explanations of the concept of human capital suggest that education or training raise the productivity of the workers. Human capital in the workplace means that it is the measure of the economic value that an employee provides through their knowledge, skills, and abilities. On an average, the total human capital costs are almost three-fourths of a company's operating expenses. The features of human capital which has been identified by scholars are scholars like Passman and Nojede in 2016 have identified some important features of human capital, which are first one is very important, creativity and innovation. The survival of any organization depends on their power of rebuilding of their employees and the work environment. This rebuilding is accompanied through adapting the goals to the present circumstances and improving the methods of accomplishment various works to achieve these goals for a better future. So we have to undergo through a process of change. We have to see, redesign, rebuild and adapt the goals to the needs of the present circumstances. We have to study the demands of the environment, adjust ourselves to it. So agility is very important, flexibility is important, giving creative solutions, newer solutions to problems are very important, and these are important aspects of human capital. What provides the base which provides employees to be creative and be flexible and agile is of course the knowledge and skill. So the second important point is the knowledge and skill. The value of the knowledge and skill and their effect on the product process have been analyzed from time to time. The efficiency of the company is largely depending upon the knowledge and skills of the employees. The training to an employee is a sort of investment in human which supports the skilled and trained workers. So it's very important, whenever we are talking of human capital, as in the definition we have seen, when an employee comes and joins the organization, that person has already invested in himself in terms of developing oneself as a part of, as a competent person, employee, through the education, specialization, skill training, behavioral grooming, etc. But when the employee comes and joins the organization to fit into the atmosphere of the organization, to fit into the job demands and roles, the employers has also an equal responsibility to increase the knowledge base, to support the learning and development of the individuals so that they can adapt themselves, assimilate within the organization system and be comfortable in doing the responsibilities given to them as a part of the job. So when we talk of human capital in the workplace, it is an equal responsibility of the organization also to help in development of that human capital and invest in the development of the human capital. Third point is value added. The human resources can help the company with having competitive advantage and value added and operating comprehensive quality plans. Employees can create the prediction at different levels of the organizations, define the values, missions, goals, strategic plans, and implement those plans according to the values. So, whenever we are talking of the value added, it is the worth that the employee adds towards the the contribution that the employee makes towards the productivity of the organization. So aligned with the mission and vision of the organization. So it's whenever we invest in a human capital, it really makes the people more worthy, more valuable, and there is of course a value addition which the employee makes through their contribution to the organization. Competitive advantage, of course, like this is a differentiating factor, like the employee's talents such as good performance, flexibility, creativity, and ability to give direct services to the customer play a key role in competitive advantage for the organization. In order to have the competitive advantage, the company must distinguish their products from the competitors through employing more talented and skilled employees. So, whenever we are putting more talented and skilled employees in the organization, we get a collective intelligence, we get a collective performance who can contribute towards thinking in a creative way, doing something innovative about the services, about the product, about the like customer contacts and many other things, which differentiates one organization from the other organization. So really, like the talents which can adjust within the system of the organization, try to give a new way of looking at a particular problem, placing a product in a different way in the market, or providing excellent services. These are factors which differentiates one company from the other and provides the competitive advantage. As we have discussed, like it is competitive advantage is like of course related with the customer satisfaction, which can be provided only by very competent employees. So, and it is determined in many cases, and much of the part is determined by the employees' behaviors towards the customer. So, evaluating the service by the customer depends on the competence, attitude, experience, and skill of the employees, and thus the behavior of the employees related to customers will affect the future of the service relationship. If you are going to see like what is the human capital, so it can be categorized into 5 major types, like the knowledge capital, social capital, emotional capital, customer capital, and intellectual capital. So we are going to visit each of these definitions separately. Knowledge capital. It is considered as an asset in the need of constant investment of both money and time, because knowledge capital, it is considered to be an asset in need of constant investment of both money and time, because like all other assets, knowledge capital also depreciates and is not finite. People need to be given the opportunity to continuously improve and upgrade their skills in order to maintain their talents. The more a company invests in its knowledge capital, the more value it holds. So that's why we talk of continuous development. So once given a training, it's the end of the story. It's not like that. There has to be continuous development, continuous feedback, continuous evaluation, and it is a continuous professional development, continuous learning process, so that everybody gets updated with the knowledge and they are enriched and can contribute back to the organization. Social capital. Social capital is defined as features of social organization such as networks, norms, and social trust that facilitate coordination and cooperation for mutual benefit, like the corporate culture, management philosophy, management practice, informal networking systems, coaching and mentoring relationship. So training is also required, development and learning is also required in terms of understanding the corporate culture, in understanding what is the management philosophy and how to practice, like in terms of how to become a better leader, and like what is the information system prevailing in the organization, what is the structure of the organization, and like how do bonding between an employee and an employer develops, these also, the information and knowledge sharing regarding these aspects also help in developing the social capital. And these information are really very important information for new joinees in the organization, which helps them to settle down mentally in the organization, start getting engaged with the organization. So exposure to these information and these experiences of experiencing the corporate culture, understanding the philosophy of the management really becomes very important for the new joining of the organization. Emotional capital. It is the tripartite concept which is composed of emotion-based knowledge, management skills and capacities to feel that links self-processes and resources to group membership and social location. So how we get attached to the organization, how we get attached to our group members and as a total to the organization. So these are very important, and these attachment, this bonding creates the emotional capital. Employees are considered to be very rich in emotional capital if they are really high in self-esteem, self-regulation and emotional energy, resilience and agreeableness, because this is very important in the sense like now it is a very challenging time, everything is changing and there is less of certainty and the situations are becoming more risky, nothing is constant, nothing is known also properly. So in terms of all these, like whenever there is maybe a state of confusion, whenever there is a state of uncertainty and risk situations existing, so it helps, like if a person is emotionally stable, emotionally knowledgeable in terms of knowing oneself in terms of what I can do, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, how do I answer to the needs of the situation. So like what are the aspects that I need to develop on, and how do I agree to a particular situation, because we have to accept certain factors and we have to fit into situations also as per the need. So these kind of flexibilities is required, and an emotion person who is emotionally intelligent enough, who can understand both oneself and others and like deal with turbulences in the environment, both maybe internal to the organization and external factors which are creating turbulence for the organization. So that kind of blend, that kind of balance can be taken by a person who is emotionally very who's stable, who has a sense of self-regulation, self-knowledge, self-awareness, and who is resilient in nature, who is like having a positive orientations of mind, who lives maybe in the present time, so mindfulness. So these are important aspects which becomes very important whenever we are talking of human capital which is which will contribute towards the development and the competitive advantage of the organization, because it is again the nature of human capital where like it is not only the knowledge part but also the behavioral aspects, the emotional aspects. These become very important in giving edge over for one organization with respect to another organization. Customer capital. It refers to the values of relationship with persons or other organizations outside company for accomplishing the goals of the organization. And in that we have the relationship with the suppliers, the customers, vendors and government agencies, and that's a brand's customer loyalty distribution channels are considered as customer capital. So your relationship with other stakeholders who are related with your business, who are giving your suppliers or vendors or customers, and maybe the government agencies who are directly related with the growth and sustainability of your business. So this is, and if you have a loyal relationship, if you have a friendly relationship with your this chain of stakeholders, so that really is a value addition, and that value addition is of course the worth that you get through these relationships and the support that you get to do your business properly in a very challenging situations, because you have people who are going to support you, who are to stand by your side in terms of whenever you are facing any difficulty. So this is also very important aspect of a human capital. Intellectual capital, so it talks of the codified knowledge that exists in a company with respect to patents, copyrights, trade secrets, and intellectual property. So this is the core knowledge part, which is very unique to your work, which is very unique to your ways of functioning, and which differentiates your organization's products with respect to other organizations' products and services. So, and it is a codified knowledge which can be shared with newer generations of employees coming in, and you want to protect it through your patents and copyrights and intellectual property. But these intellectual property, we need to understand, comes from again the knowledge capital that is there. It comes also from the human, the emotional capital, the social capital that you have, because whenever you're talking of the intellectual capital, we are talking of not only a single person's contribution, but maybe it is the collective intelligence that we are talking of, which is creating this value addition towards the organization. Now, what are the benefits of human capital investment? So, we have discussed, if in our earlier lectures, you have seen where we have discussed about the employer-employee relationships. We have discussed about the employment contracts also, where the discussion we have seen, if you're going by the IR perspective, industrial relations perspective, the focus is all more on the salaries, wages, tangible benefits that you're getting in terms of maybe the leaves and the cash, compensations and all these factors. So, but what are the benefits of human capital investments? Are sometimes some intangible things also, but which are very, very important towards contribute for helping the employees to contribute towards the purpose of the organization. Now, what are these benefits of human capital investment, which are sometimes intangible in nature also, it increases the employee satisfaction. Investing in professional development for your staff can lead to greater job satisfaction. When the employees feel that their workplace cares about their development, they are more likely to be satisfied with their job. Improves retention rate of employees. Workers who are receiving professional education and development are less likely to seek other employment opportunities. Increases employee involvement in work. Investment in employee development can help to grow your employee engagement. Giving your staff career advancement opportunities and investing in their development gives them a reason to be engaged at work. Improves return on investment. Employee salary, benefits and perks are all an investment in company's human capital. The company spends money on developing its workers to maximize the return on human capital investment. Improves the organizational communication. Human capital development works to improve every facet of employee performance, including communication. This process can help company to help employees who may be lacking communication skills and assist them in remedying this situation. Better communication leads to better employee satisfaction and engagement. So, communication is a very important medium, is a very important tool through which the employees get to understand the views of other employees and the nature of the organization, discuss with each other, and then contribute positively towards the organization's growth. So, focus on improving organizational communication is very important in terms of like human capital investment and how also it has an impact on how it affects the communication. Human capital management. So, whenever we are talking of human capital management, it is like the hiring the right people, managing workforce effectively, and optimizing productivity of the organization. So, this is focused on the need of the organization's need to provide specific competencies, and they're implemented in three important aspects like workforce acquisition, workforce management, and workforce optimization. The elements of human capital management are recruitment, onboarding, payroll, time and attendance, talent management, training, reporting and analytics, and compliance. So, if you see the difference, like when we discussed earlier about what are the parts of employment contract, and there were certain steps like this which were listed, we did not find a place of talent management and training whenever we are discussing employment contract. But whenever we are discussing human capital management, you find like along with recruitment, boarding, payroll, time and attendance, benefit and retirement service, which are in common with the employment contract discussed earlier, we have four very important points over here, which are talent management, training, reporting and analytics, and of course compliance. Now, human capital management has the following important: changing workforce demographics and the ability to get work done in remote environments, and expanded availability of contract-based and freelance employees, increasing compliance regulations in both the United States and other countries, tightening labor markets and the need for specialized skills, the prevalence of team-based work structures, and explosion of available workforce data. So, whenever we are talking of human capital, knowledge capital, emotional capital, we are focusing more towards the like team-based work where people are working in a group, sharing their knowledge with each other, and as a result creating a pool of resources like knowledge base from which becomes an asset towards the organization's development. So, these are the references that we have used for preparing these slides. So, you can go through these references, and as a part we can conclude over here, like this part of lecture session has given a clear picture of the employees as human capital, concept, features, types, benefits, and concept of human capital management. It is important that we know about these human capitals and then understand how it contributes towards the growth and development of the organization, why employees should be seeing themselves as human capitals and utilize every possible opportunity given by the organization to develop themselves, why organization also should take an effort to develop the individuals and groups as human capital, what is the value addition worth that they have. And in the next session then we are going to focus on the different kinds of training programs and how do they add to the organizational excellence. So till then, keep reading, enjoy reading, and any questions will be there. We are ready to answer in the discussion forum. We're open to answer any questions that you may be having while reading through these slides or listening to our lectures over here. Thank you.